Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Take It to the Hizzy Fantasy Football TITTH number 208. I'm your host, Justin Bruni. I got Emron Khan with me this morning. Happy Sunday, sir. Welcome to week 12. How are we doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. How are you?
Can't complain. Can't complain. I am stuffed. I've been just maxing on leftovers. Feeling a little heavy this morning. Oddly enough, I didn't eat a ton on actual Thanksgiving, so I just have hordes and hordes of food left over. Had the family visiting, and I catered. I didn't make all the food, but I catered it.
Smart man.
Oh yeah, definitely. A lot easier to clean up and just reheat and pick all that shit up the day before. So, right. But now I have, like I said, hordes and hordes of food to eat for like the next week or so. It's just been turkey, pies, lots of pie left over still. So yeah, feeling good, feeling filled up, ready for week 12. We're ready for some picks. Had a decent start, we'll say, to this week so far. How you been looking?
Started off good on Thursday. We had the Bears and the under covered at our best bets, which is easy money there. And then the games, didn't go as planned after that. The Dallas and Raiders game was a shootout. Not too surprising, but Dallas was able to win it for us. And then the Bills finally beat a somewhat decent team for the first time this year. I told them I was going to go against them until they did it, and not only did they covered pretty convincingly.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the Saints, good defense. The offense just wasn't there. Still no Alvin Kamara. You can't rely on Simeon and that Traquan Smith connection. Really, it's not A1. We'll say. I cashed in the Bills and the under in that one, and I took the Bears money line as well. I was telling you earlier, like I was just staring at the Raiders at plus 7.5, and I just didn't do it. I don't know. I wasn't feeling 100% on it. And then I watched them score the first touchdown of the game going, just kicking myself. So, but we're ready. We're here. We're ready for some more opportunity this week. Let's dive right in here. Let's check out let's go with our best props first, then we'll jump into the injuries. What best props are you looking at this week?
Yeah, for this week, I really like Cam Newton against the Dolphins. Over 34.5 rushing yards. That offense between the design runs and Cam just taking off on his own. I think that's a very doable number. I think that'll be a close game, and they're going to need him to run against that defense. And then, you can see me showing a little bit of love to the Bengals fam here. I'm thinking Joe Mixon over the 14.5 receiving yards. I really like that in that game. And number's been hit or miss for him, but he's a big part of that offense. And I can just see him getting a couple check downs and getting that covered early for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Could definitely see him grab a couple extra check downs with the heavy Steelers rushing attack. I am going with Kendrick Bourne over 3.5 catches. He's hit this number 4 out of his last 5 games, and it's paying plus money, plus 135. I cashed this pick a few weeks ago, just going back to the well here with Kendrick Bourne, and there should be a lot of opportunity in that passing game. I know that we have Mac Jones in one of the flex starts here. I'll save that for that tidbit for that pick because I am going to be riding with Mac Jones there. Let's go with our injury updates. Emron, who is going to be ruled out this week?
Yeah, so ruled out this week, we're going to start off with A.J. Brown, which is pretty big for the Titans, right? Because Julio's gone. I don't know who's left for the Titans. Speaking of the Titans, Jeremy McNichols is also going to be out. Eric Ebron is going to be out. Antonio Brown looks like he's still going to need a couple more weeks. Jordan Howard is out. Sterling Shepard, Michael Carter also is going to be out for a few weeks for the Jets. So that's a bummer there as well.
Okay. Any of those guys that you're kind of handling as far as like your fantasy situations?
Yeah, I have a league where I have A.J. Brown. I'm really big on A.J. Brown. I have Antonio Brown on another, and I actually have Carter, I think, in every league but our Dynasty League. There's 2 players that I was really high on before the season. One was Jamar Chase. I got him everywhere I could. And then the other was Michael Carter because I thought the value was too good, going like around 7 through 9 in most standard leagues. And when they give him the ball, he produces. And then they decide they bring in Ty Johnson sometimes. So so that one's a bummer for me because he for most games, he was doing better than I even expected. Like he was a true RB2.
Yeah, I hear you. He was on a really nice run. It's a shame to see him go. I mean, that's just been the case for like every running back this year. It sucks. Speaking of which, we have plenty of running backs that are still questionable for this week. Running through our game time decisions, we have Mark Ingram, Elijah Mitchell, Dame Harris, and Ramondre Stevenson, Cordero Patterson, John Ross of the Giants, not really much on anyone's radar there, Aaron Jones with Green Bay, Donovan People-Jones with Cleveland, and Marquise Brown. Elijah Mitchell, Aaron Jones, those are some situations I'm trying to navigate this week. If they're both starting this week, would you feel comfortable starting either of those guys?
Aaron Jones, I think so, just because he's so good. If he's playing for the Packers, he should be playing for you. And the other one you said was Ramondre Stevenson?
Correct.
Probably
or no,
not.
just Mitchell and Jones, just Elijah Mitchell.
Mitchell, I'm sorry, Mitchell. Yeah, if Mitchell's playing, I kind of feel similar. I mean, I think I said Ramondre Stevenson because the situations are the exact same. There's so many running backs back there. I don't know why Shanahan would risk him. Maybe he remembers he has Trey Sermon. I don't know.
Trey Sermon had like over 50 total yards last week. I mean, it wasn't amazing.
Yeah, I just hope Kyle Shanahan remembers that and like doesn't just go away from him because he's been doing that a lot lately, right? Like one week he'll have a decent turnaround and then 3 weeks, no touches.
All right, so Emron, I'm going against you this week in fantasy in Dynasty, and I have Aaron Jones and Elijah Mitchell for my last running back spot. Who do you want to go against?
Elijah Mitchell.
All right, we'll see what happens. We'll see. We'll check the final injury report. I know Aaron Jones, he plays his game a little bit later. I think Mitchell does too. I think Mitchell does too.
They both do it, and I save Mitchell. And if you actually pitch and watch him have like 300 yards and 3 touchdowns,
we'll see what happens. All right. Also not expected to play today, Kyle Rudolph for the Giants, Kadarius Toney for the Giants, and Corey Davis for the Jets. Expected to play today is Saquon Barkley of the New York Giants. So Saquon getting healthy. All right, let's get into it. We're going to jump into our morning flex here, go over some start or sit questions. Please be sure, if you haven't already, to smash the like button, share the video, and follow us on youtube.com. And you can also, of course, throw some comments in the chat, start, sit questions, whatever it is. Let's get to it. All right, first up here, we've got Taylor Heineke versus Carson Wentz. Heineke getting some Monday night action, hosting the Seattle Seahawks at home. Carson Wentz also playing at home, but going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Who are you going with here, Emron?
I'm going to go with Taylor Heineke. I think Wentz has been playing really good football lately. The Bucs defense is a lot tougher matchup. Both quarterbacks are playing at home, so they do have that going for them. But Heineke, between him just playing a better defense in terms of a matchup, and his mobility too, he's not shy to run the ball, so you can sneak in some extra points there. So give me Heineke.
Yeah, I'm taking Heineke as well. It's just a much better matchup, in my opinion. On paper, when you look at Seattle and Tampa Bay, they're actually giving up almost exactly the same clip to quarterbacks in fantasy. It's like 17.6, 17.7 fantasy points for going either way. So I do think that there's still some upside for Wentz this week. I just feel like between the two, he's still kind of that more problematic quarterback. Could throw an interception, maybe two. I could see him doing that and still actually winning the game. I do like the Colts today at home. They've been surging, but I'm going with Heineke here. Still a better matchup on paper up against Seattle. They've been bleeding yards all year long, and Heineke's coming off a very good performance. Had 3 passing touchdowns last week against Carolina, who, in my opinion, is a much better defense than Seattle. You know, Carolina's been a top 5 defense so far this year, especially their secondary. So I was impressed by his performance. I'm going to continue to ride his hot hand. Next up, we have Mac Jones versus Tennessee or Matt Ryan at Jacksonville. Who do you like here?
I'm going to go Matt Ryan with Jacksonville. We just talked about, Mac Jones and the Titans defense, right? Not the Titans defense, the Titans offense. The Titans offense is missing so many key players. Their defense is pretty healthy, and they've been doing a really good job this season. Like against the Rams game just a couple of weeks ago, they won that game because of their defense. And they're pretty healthy, and I think they'll be able to kind of contain Mac Jones for a while. I don't anticipate, him going off for a big game. I do think the Patriots will win, but I don't see a big fantasy day there. And for the Jacksonville game with Matt Ryan, Jags are the Jags, right? We're not really seeing much from them that really scares us. They are at home, so that's where they did get the Bills, but I think there's a lot more upside for Matt Ryan.
Yeah, and I could see that. I just like Mac Jones a lot more, especially the matchup. The Titans have actually given up the second most amount of fantasy points to the quarterback position this season. That was a big reason why I targeted Kendrick Bourne's prop again, because I was like, his prop should probably be a catch or two higher, given this matchup. I go check on it. He's still at the 3.5, so I slam dunked that one. And I really like Mac Jones here. The Falcons have just been so just gloomy the past 3 weeks. They're a very hard team to trust, in my opinion. If I knew Cordell Patterson was going to be 100%, I guess I would lean a little bit more towards Ryan. But Jacksonville defense has also been, kind of surprising as well in a positive way in recent weeks. So they're playing at home. I like Mac Jones at home versus Tennessee instead. So I'm going with the kid, going with the young man. Let's check in the chat here. We got Jesus. He says, hi. What's up, Jesus? What's up, brother?
What's going on, buddy?
Next up, we've got some running backs and receivers. We've got Darrell Henderson Jr. at Green Bay, James Robinson versus Atlanta, or T. Higgins versus Pittsburgh. Who you got? It's a toughie.
It is pretty even.
I like J-Rob.
Let me go with Henderson at the Packers. I love J-Rob. I just don't trust Urban Meyer. All of my stuff has nothing to do with him. I think as a player, he's fantastic, but Urban Meyer just, I don't know. So I'll go Henderson, Higgins, and Robinson.
Yeah, I like Robinson, Henderson, and then Higgins. Robinson's coming off a pretty solid game. Found Pater last week. I think he had 95 rushing yards, so a little bit more upside for him. And Atlanta, their rushing defense isn't amazing. Deion Jones is banged up. T. Higgins, I like that matchup as well, but I would definitely say he falls in third here behind Robinson and Henderson. Don't hate Henderson. He had a great start to the year. I just feel like Green Bay, they're decent up against the run. They're not amazing. They're kind of like middle of the run as far as like fantasy goes. So I think that'll be a decent matchup, but I do like the upside for both Henderson and Robinson, both to find Pater. I think Robinson maybe just clips Henderson with maybe an extra, I don't know, handful of yards. Maybe it's 10 to 15 extra yards. I think it's really close though. All right, next up, we've got Leonard Fournette at Indianapolis, Antonio Gibson versus Seattle, or Mike Williams at Denver. And actually, I don't think that was Robinson that hit clipped that 95 yards. That was Gibson. That was wrong number stuck in my head. So I like Gibson here over Fournette. While you give your answer, I'm going to give James Robinson, or I'm going to find James Robinson's production from last week.
No problem. I think for this one, I'm probably going to go with Gibson as well. Like, again, going back to why I picked Heineke, there's a bad defense, the best matchup. Colts have a decent defense, so Fournette, I think he'll get decent work. But, Ronald Jones had vulture a touchdown from him last week, so that's going to be something to monitor. And then I think Denver secondary is going to be a tough matchup for Mike Williams. So, I mean, he might get a little bit better play with, Keenan Allen taking their attention, but the secondary as a whole is pretty solid.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going Gibson there as well, and I think I probably have to revert my answer to Henderson because Robinson has found Pater in consecutive games, but the yardage really isn't there. I don't know why I was thinking in my head that his yardage total was higher these past 2 weeks. So, yeah, give me Henderson, Robinson, and then Higgins. And this one, I like Gibson. Man, it's really tough between Fournette and Williams, kind of ranking them. I'll go Gibson for the start for sure. It's really a toss-up between Williams and Fournette. I think I go just Leonard Fournette just for that, touchdown upside. The secondary for Denver has been above average this season. I think Mike Williams could have a big day, but maybe he just doesn't find Pater.
Yep.
So we got Delusional Tanner in the chat said, would you start Michael Pittman or Miles Sanders in a half-point PPR? He's starting Keenan, Scary Terry, and Lockett, and Eckler and Swift. Fuck my life in both spots. Well, only for Swift so far, maybe not Eck. Michael Pittman for me over Miles Sanders. That's an easy one.
Yeah, Tampa secondary is not very good. And then with Sanders, I have no idea how the Eagles are going to use him.
Yeah, I really don't. Yeah. First game back. They've been rotating those running backs pretty heavily. I know Jordan Howard's going to be out, so there should be, extra touches to go around. But what does that mean for Boston Scott? What does it mean for Kenny Gainwell? Not really sure.
Yep. And you also have to remember Jalen Hurts.
Oh, and Jalen Hurts, RB1. We got John McLean in the chat saying good morning. Good morning, sir. Happy to have you here. Drop any starter sits or any questions or topics you'd like us to cover in the chat. We got Twitter pulled up here. All right, next up, got to shift the bottom line here. We got Jalen Waddle versus Carolina, Jerry Jeudy versus the Chargers, or David Johnson versus the Jets. Who do you like here? Keep in mind, I know David Johnson seems like a far cry, but that Jets rushing defense is bad. Bad.
Yeah, I'd probably go Jeudy, Waddle, and then Johnson. I think Judy's got a good matchup, and they have a lot of receivers in Denver. Waddle's been really consistent. He's got a low floor. He just racks up these catches every week. And then I'd go Johnson last. The only reason I didn't go Waddle one is that the Carolina secondary is really good. They have a lot of players that –
Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was going to say that secondary is really good. You
Mhm.
know, Stephon Gilmore, Dante Jackson, C.J. Henderson, like they've invested a lot to try to beef up that secondary. So I like the talent they have there. So I think Waddle will get his. I just don't think he'll get anything over the top.
Right. I don't know about Waddle though. I mean, against very good secondaries, he's struggled. Jerry Judy, he hasn't had booming production here. So I call me crazy, but I'm going to go with David Johnson. It's the week to start him. You know, it's the New York Jets. They're, like I said, they rank first in yards against on the ground, fantasy points against to the running back position. It's a great matchup here. Call me crazy, but I think David Johnson could get 2 rushing touchdowns this week. I think the opportunity's there, and I think the Texans are really going to try to bury the ball into the ground and eat up a lot of clock. I like the Texans to win this week. I know we'll get to that in the preview here, but I wouldn't call it a crazy desperate play, but I just like the matchups a lot more. The Chargers have actually been very good up against the pass as well, and it's tough for me to trust Waddle up against the Carolina secondary. I don't think either of those guys, Waddle or Judy, score a touchdown this week. All right, next up we have Chase Claypool at Cincinnati, Brandon Ayuk versus Minnesota, or Miles Sanders at the Giants. Just talked about Sanders a little bit. What do you think here?
Yeah, so Sanders is going to be last for me. I'll probably go Claypool, Ayuk, and then Sanders.
Surprisingly enough, I'm going to go with Ayuk over Claypool. Ayuk's had a very impressive past few weeks. Mm-hmm. 2 out of his last 3 weeks, he's had over 80 receiving yards. 2 out of the last 3 weeks, he's had at least a touchdown in one of those games. 5+ catches in the same rack. So, yeah, give me Ayuk here. He's starting to catch on fire. The 49ers offense is starting to come around. They've seen more solidified, more healthy with Kittle and Debo 100%. Mitchell, they kind of need to figure that out health-wise, but they're always running the ball with a healthy clip. So I'm going to go with Ayuk here. I think he's starting to turn it on. All right, now we're going over to the tight ends. First up, we've got Dallas Goddard versus Pat Friarmuth. Who do you like?
Let me go with the Muth. Friarmuth has been really clutch. You know, it reminds me a lot of how they used to use Heath Miller back in the day. He's getting these security catches, 4 to 6 yards. He's getting a lot of touchdowns lately. So like I said earlier with something else we were talking about, I'm going to ride the train till it falls off. I mean, he's been clutch. Even I think last week he had 4 catches for like 20 yards, but 1 was a touchdown. So you'll take that all day.
Yeah, we were talking about Jonathan Taylor earlier. Just it won't stop scoring touchdowns. Pat Friarmuth, absolutely 1,000% going that way. He is number 1 in receiving touchdowns at the tight end position across the past 4 weeks with 4, and he is number 6 with receptions. Dallas Goddard is up there for yards. He's like top 5 in receiving yards for tight ends across the past 4 weeks, but he doesn't have the volume with the catches, and he has no touchdowns across that spread. So give me the Muth. I like him at that Cincinnati matchup. Should be solid today. Next up, we've got Tyler Huggaba at Green Bay, or Noah Fant versus the Chargers. Who do you like? Pretty close.
I'm going to go with Higbee.
Yep, I like Higbee as well. Noah Fant, solid tight end. Everyone had him like in their top 5, top 10 this year for tight ends, but Albert O has just kind of been a nag to his production. Albert O is getting 4 to 5 targets, 3 to 4 catches, an extra, 30 to 50 yards. And, if he's not around, and Fant was able to, just even taking like half of that production, he'd be a lot more appetizing as a fantasy option. Higbee, he had a touchdown in his last game. He had 10 targets the game before that. I like the upside in that offense as they're still trying to figure things out, with OBJ coming over and losing Robert Woods. So I like Tyler Higbee. Should be a solid matchup for him in Green Bay, where the Rams are also favored.
Yep.
Speaking of which, let's jump into our game previews. While we go through the game previews, still slam the chat with any questions, starter sits, and we'll jump into them. All right, first up, we've got the Titans coming to New England, coming in as road dogs, +7 on the spread, +257 on the money line, and the total here is at 43.5 points. What do you like?
I'm sorry, I had a little bit of a computer glitch here. I lost my screens.
You're good.
That game, yeah.
So Titans at Patriots, Titans +7, +257 on the money line, and the over/under is at 43.5 points. What do you like?
It makes no sense. I'm going to take the Titans +7. Everything on that's been that type of NFL season we were talking about earlier, where nothing makes sense. You know, on paper, Titans have nobody left. No Julio, no AJ Brown, no Derrick Henry. The offense is depleted. Their defense is still decent, but how are they going to score? But I don't know. I think their defense maybe helps them find a way like they did against the Rams. Patriots should still win, and I'm going to probably go with the under here as well.
Yep. Yeah, so I don't actually love the spread because the Patriots have been like on fire. Like I could see them scoring, 30 points in this game. I could see them scoring 17. If they score the 17, then they're probably winning like 17-7 or 17-6. If they score the 30, they're probably winning like 30 to 14. I think it's closer to the 30 to 14, but again, I'm not 100% on my confidence level. So I'm going to stay away from the spread. I like the Patriots at the minus 307 on the money line, parlayed with the over, because I do think that the Titans can put up like that 14-17. And man, you just look at what the Patriots have been doing. They've been scoring a lot of touchdowns. I do think that they can get to that 27-32 range, and we go to the over. So give me the Patriots on the money line, and I'll take that with the total, and I'll get some pretty fair value back. I feel pretty confident in that. I think that they're going to take care of business. Like you said, who do the Titans have? It's a very similar situation to the Bills and the Saints. I'm just looking at one team that's really rolling right now. Maybe that wasn't the Bills. Maybe they're not rolling, but they're fully healthy on offense still. And you look at the Titans, they're just completely diminished. And their defense are still like middle of the run. So give me the Patriots to win, and I like the over there. All right, next up we have the Jets and the Texans. Jets coming in as road dogs, plus 2.5 on the spread, plus 118 on the money line, and the over-under is at 44.5 points. Battle of the bad here. Who do you have more confidence in?
Definitely the Texans. The Texans sneakily have been doing a pretty good job, especially when Tyrod Taylor is playing. This is a completely different team. He does a fantastic job of keeping them right. And Tyrod Taylor, handling the offense, and that Lovie Smith defense, they forced 5 turnovers back-to-back weeks. He still got it. So that combined with the fact that the Jets, no Michael Carter, no Corey Davis, and is it Zach Wilson starting today?
No clue. That's a good question. I think it's Joe Flacco, but I could be wrong. Let me get it pulled up really quick.
Yeah, because I was going to say, no matter who the quarterback is, they're
just I got Zach.
Turnover. Oh, yeah. They might get 5 turnovers 3 weeks in a row.
I'm with it. Zach Wilson, Mike White, Joe Flacco. I don't care who the quarterback is. I'm taking the Texans here for all the reasons that you just listed. The defense has been great. I think that they're going to have a very good game plan, bury the ball into the ground, feed the rock a lot to David Johnson, Rex Burkhead. Honestly, I don't hate a Rex Burkhead anytime touchdown prop today. You call me crazy, but he had 18 carries last week. I pretty much was saying the same, or had the same conversation about Rex Burkhead this past Monday on our show as I did to Matt Breida. Like everyone was saying, like, oh, now you can't trust any of them. Like, well, then why are they using them? Why would you give them that production if they're not going to be used going forward? And the Texans just gave up Phillip Lindsay. So call me crazy. It might be a far cry, but give me an anytime touchdown for David Johnson and for Rex Burkhead this week. I think that they're going to torch the Jets on the ground. The total, I don't really trust it. I like the under 44.5 points. What do you think?
I'll probably go with the under here as well. The Jets are a mess. And I think the Texans, like you mentioned, I see them playing a safe game as well. The one thing that does kind of make me go, at this game is that the line is only 2.5. I figured it would at least be 3, so I don't know.
All right, we got Matt in the chat. He's asking, is Eli Mitchell expected to play today, and do we like him? He is still a game-time decision. If he does play, I do like to start him. I do like him as a play today, but it would be better for us to help you if you could give us your options. Who else could you start over him? Maybe you just have somebody that we think is, a home run. If you want to share that in the chat, just let us know. Also, Odell or Galladay for the flex. That's tough, but I think I lean Odell, just betting on them figuring it out, Stafford and Odell figuring it out and building a connection. You just have Kupp, Woods, and Higbee there in the passing game. Ben Swarkanuk, I don't know that guy's name. I can't pronounce it, but he's out as well. So I think I go Odell there. What do you think, Emron?
Yeah, I think I'll go Odell as well, because I think you kind of have to trust the quarterback here too. I love Kenny Galladay as a player. I don't like Daniel Jones at all. Odell, he got that first game out. They're just coming off of a bye week as well, right? So he's got a couple weeks down the Rams offense to get settled. No Robert Woods, right, guys? He's still gone. So for the rest of the year, so I think he'll have a better game today. And that Green Bay secondary definitely has its holes.
Yeah, I was listing off to Emron before the show, like all the players I've been missing like the past 3 weeks. Add Robert Woods to that list. I forgot to mention him.
Yeah,
it's been rough. I avoided the injury train for a while, but now it's all aboard. All aboard. All right, next up, we've got the Eagles at the Giants coming in as road favorites, minus 3.5 on the spread, minus 190 on the money line, and the over-under in this game is at 45.5 points. Eagles, they've been streaking a little bit here. They've been getting it together. Do you trust them on the road in New York?
I do, but I think the Giants will cover because that's football.
That's because that's the NFL this year.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I just don't see the. I don't know what it is. I mean, logic tells you that this is going to be the Eagles taking care of business like they have been doing, right? I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because of the divisional game, later in the year on the road. The Giants, just got embarrassed on Monday night, so they're coming off a short week. Again, logic doesn't tell you that they should win, but I think the Eagles will win. Giants will cover the number. And
go ahead. Sorry.
The spread 45.5. Let me go with the under.
I was just about to say I'd like the over there just based off of the Eagles putting up crazy amount of points these past couple of weeks. I think they have 75 points or 70 points between these last two games. So if I'm going Eagles, which I mean I'm not doing, like, just full disclosure, I'm not betting on this game. This is not one of my favorites of the day. I trust the Texans more than I trust either team in this matchup, and that's just because the Texans are playing the Jets. But we got Jake in the chat saying fly Eagles fly. I mean, yeah, go ahead. I'll leave it up there for you for a minute here, Jake. But I like the over here. I think that the Eagles can put up points again, potentially score 30 points. How many points do we expect for the Giants? Like more than 17 or less?
Less. I think 17 is their cap.
Yeah, so 30-17. I'll go for it, but I'm not betting on it. Give me the over 45.5, and I'll take the Eagles, and I'm not touching the spread. This just seems like a messy game.
Yep.
All right, next up, we've got the Buccaneers at the Colts. Bucks coming in as road favorites, -3 on the spread, -162 on the money line, and the over-under is at 53 points. I like the Colts at home, man. Home dogs for a surging team like the Colts. How can we say no?
Same here. I like them in this game a lot. What they do well, they attack the run game, right? Tampa Bay has a decent run defense, but we've seen other teams run on them. Colts have the best O-line in football, so that's going to be a really good matchup, seeing Vita Vea versus Quentin Nelson on the team. So I think the Colts will cover this. I think I would not be surprised if they went outright.
I'm taking them to win outright. They just beat the Bills. They threw one in the face of the Bills. Yeah. I don't think that the Buccaneers defense and the Bills defense are that far apart from each other. I mean, mind you, at one point, the Bills, like a top 5 defense in the league. I mean, Jonathan Taylor ran all over them.
5 touchdowns.
They were a top 10 rushing defense, too. They ranked exactly number 10 going into that game, and Jonathan Taylor just undressed them like it was prom night. Like, it was too much. I don't see how the Colts at home up against a team like the Buccaneers right now, who have had some struggles themselves. I mean, yeah, they're coming off a 30-10 win, but that was the Giants. Before that, they laid 2 eggs in a row before the bye, after the bye, and I wasn't impressed by those losses. So give me the Colts to win straight up. Sure, the +3 is safer, but I'll take that plus money at +142. I like it. And you know what? I don't love the over either. I think I buy that up to 55 and I slam the under. I think it's, at most like a 27-24 game.
Yeah, I'd probably go with the under as well. I think 53 is a big number. Like, the Colts have a good offense, but their offense is through Jonathan Taylor. So those drives will take a lot longer. So I think we're going to see an under here. Close. It'll be close, though. I could see it being like 50-51.
Yeah, I like 51. That was the number that was sticking out to me. And at the 53, like I said, I'll still buy it up a couple of points, and I'll feel really safe about it. If I miss on the 55, then oh well, I did what I could to take more action in my own hands. All right, next up, we've got the Falcons at the Jaguars. Falcons coming in as road favorites, -2 on the spread, -130 on the money line, and the over-under is at 46 even here. This is another game I just want no business and do not want to be a part of whatsoever. That being said, I'll take the Falcons to win outright.
I'll take the Jags.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what would you look at here in a game between teams that are this bad? That's just like, oh yeah, this number or this trend, it just gives me so much comfort in the winner. Like, what would you look at here?
So the reason I said that, and again, I have no backing for this being anything. 73% of the public bets are on the Falcons.
Yeah, so definitely give me the public. Or give me your fade the public for sure. Yeah, fade the public.
That's the only reason I'm not getting into any analytics or anything like that. That was the biggest number for this week, which I was surprised at. I think the second was the Bucs getting, 68% of the money.
Yeah, good call. Good call. Just I'm staying away from that game in general. 2 points, like why isn't it 1? Why isn't it 3? You know what I mean? The total. I'll take under 46 points. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't see a ton of scoring in this one. The Jaguars and the Falcons offense hasn't been potent all season long. just bad game. Don't love it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next up, we've got the Carolina Panthers traveling to Miami, coming in as road favorites, -2.5 on the spread, -133 on the money line, and the over-under is at 42 points. Miami has 3 wins in a row. I guess I forgot that they beat Baltimore until this morning.
They did too.
They've been surging. I still trust the Panthers more. What do you think about this one?
I'll trust the Panthers. I think Miami comes down in life a little bit. Panthers had a tough loss against the football team. Panthers have something to play for. They are really in the thick of it for those last 2 wildcard spots. They have a serious shot. So it starts to take hold. So I think they'll step up today. I like the under here. 2 decent defenses, like you mentioned, Dolphins 3 in a row. They're coming on, right? But I think this is an old school Cam game. I think we see him with a couple of rushing touchdowns, 50, 60 rushing yards, and I think just grinding out a win on the road.
Yeah, absolutely. I trust the Panthers more. They're still in it for the division, actually. If they win today and Tampa loses, they're only 2 games behind.
Crazy to think, right? Because
I was just going to say, look at Tampa's schedule, though. They should be fine for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
but still.
It's we just got to remember the Bucs. They're not some unbeatable team, right? They've lost 2 in a row. They had lost 2 in a row before they beat the Giants.
Yeah, but Tom Brady in December, man, that's not good for anybody. And if you just look at their schedule, they're all pretty winnable games. They have one up against the Bills. That'll be a good one. They have who do they have 2 against? I think there was someone that they still had 2 games against.
I don't think they play the Falcons yet, right? Is the Falcons or the Panthers?
I'm pulling it up right now.
They already played
they have 2 games with the Panthers still. So there you go. If the Panthers could pull those out, and still keep steady with them, they might have a chance, but I just don't see it. I think Tampa will take care of business up against them. They're just such a deep roster, the Buccaneers. But I don't expect them to win this week, but then you follow up this Colts game with the Falcons, the Bills, the Saints. That's an easy 2 for 1, no matter what. The Bills, they could lose to the Bills, but you're still taking 2 out of 3 there. And then they close out the season, Panthers, Jets, Panthers, and I think you take all 3, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Let's check in with the chat. We got Jake saying he's taking Pascal over the 2.5. I like that. I think that's a really easy one, actually. I think that should hit for sure. And then he also said earlier, I had it on the screen, but I didn't mention it, taking Hurts under the 214. Yeah, but you should take over 214 for rushing. My God, just run. That was a joke. Don't do that. Do you guys think Aaron Jones plays right before the bye? I hope so. I hope so. I might start him up against Emron. I might not. I got him in a couple other leagues. I need him to play. But if I'm the coach, I probably don't play him. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, logic tells you no, but at the same time, if he's healthy enough to go to give you something, I think you have to take him because this is a big game. If they're still in that conversation for that 1 seed, and the Rams are right into it. The Rams, ironically, are the 5 seed right now because of the Cardinals' good record, but this is a pretty important matchup in the NFC. This could decide the 1 seed.
Yeah, sure. I'll take a look at Green Bay's schedule really quick to write it out. They go into a bye week. Bears, Ravens, Browns, Vikings. Honestly, this is a really tough schedule to close out. Hopefully the Bears keep it closer, but even if they spank around the Bears, they still have the Ravens, the Browns, the Vikings. That's 3 really tough weeks.
And the Vikings just spanked them. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, it's a really good game. They lost by 3, you know what I mean?
It's Kirk Cousins beating Aaron Rodgers. I'll call it a spanking.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. It was fireworks. I hope we get exactly the same thing. I won't care who wins. That was just a great ball game. But you know what I mean? This isn't important in the run, but those 3 games, I think those will be the factors for sure. Because I was wondering, I thought their schedule was pretty tough to close it down. All right, but let's get back on track here. Just kind of recapping, we're both going with the Panthers. What did we think about the total in that game? I like the over 42 points.
I like the under.
All right, fair enough. I think the Dolphins, just their recent success, I feel like they should be able to play enough ball to push us over. And they're playing at home, so I like Aaron Jones if he plays. If not, obviously you're not playing him. I just don't understand why they would rush him back. No, like Emron just said, they want to close down the year number 1 in the conference, have that playoff advantage. It's going to be crucial when you're most likely going up against Tom Brady, in the conference finals if you can make it that far, right?
Yeah.
Didn't help out last year. All right, next up, we've got the Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to Cincinnati, plus 3.5 on the spread, coming in as road dogs, plus 163 on the money line, and the over-under is at 44 points. That's a low number. I think I like the over there. Who do you like in the game though?
I agree. The number is really weird. I thought it'd be in the higher 40s. I like the over here. I like the Bengals, man. You know, I got to shout out the squad. My Bengals. I like the Bengals. I like them here. They had a big win last week against the Raiders on the road, right? They come back home. This is a game, you know, they're in the thick of it as well in the AFC North, right? So it's a game they need, and I think this is a game that they can win. You know, prior to last week, like we were talking about, the Steelers were on a bit of they were on a winning streak, and then they tied with the Lions, so they were on a non-losing streak. But the games weren't really that impressive, right? They tied with the Lions, even though they had down their quarterback, right? They had the questionable win against the Bears, which didn't really give you a lot of confidence, right? They played the Seahawks.
I thought they lost to the Bears.
Well, you know, it is what it is.
They should have won, but I mean, I'll look it up really quick. I'm pretty sure they lost to the Bears. That was one of our weird wins.
No, it wasn't. That was a penalty game.
No, we beat them 20-17.
The Steelers?
No, the Bengals. I'm sorry.
I'm talking about the Steelers. Yeah, I was talking about the Steelers.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
Yeah, I was talking about the Steelers. Yeah, and then they beat the Seahawks without Geno. They were on like a little 4-game winning streak. So I think the Bengals are the better team here. The 3.5, I don't like it. I wish it was 3. I think it'll be a closer game. So the Steelers 3.5, I think, is a good number to get. But I love the Bengals to win outright, and I'll take the over here as well.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bengals to win outright and the over 44 points. I still think that they will have plenty of offense in this game. I just looked up the weather. It should be fine. It's going to be like in the 40s. I was thinking maybe like that was playing a role. Like maybe they got some like crazy wind in Cincy today or something like that. But yeah, I'm not sure why that number is so low. Maybe they're betting on Road Ben, you know, just not showing up. The Steelers not playing their part. But I think both teams will put up a fair amount of points. Give me 27-24, 21-24 either way. But I think the Bengals do pull it out and they do get a victory here. So yeah, with that score prediction, yeah, Steelers at plus 3.5. I think that's solid. Yeah. I like it.
Cool.
Mixon showing out today, 14.5. Jake and Emron, same page, huh? Look at the big brains on Jake and Emron. There you go.
Yep.
How do you do, sir? All right, next up, we've got the Chargers and the Broncos. Chargers traveling to Denver, coming in as road favorites, -2.5 on the spread, -140 on the money line. Over-under is at 47 points. Kind of like the under here, but who do you like in the game?
I like the under too. I feel like the Broncos-Chargers game always get a high total, and they never are even close. I feel like it's going to be like a 2017 game or 17-4. Right. I don't know why. I have no logic again. It's just shit doesn't make sense. But I like the Chargers here. Chargers are the better team. So I'll go with the Chargers. Chargers 2.5 is low enough, or I'll take the spread money line, and I'll go with the under.
I agree. I like the -2.5 here for the Chargers. I will also take them on the money line, probably a little bit safer here. But is this an opportunity for the Broncos to, like, you know, kind of beat the public again? You know, just beat up on us like they did against the Cowboys. I mean, that was a 10-point spread, so it's a little bit different. They've definitely narrowed it here. But if you look at the way the Chargers are built versus that Cowboys team, and you're looking at 2.5, 2.5 feels like a slam dunk.
Yeah, give me just a second. I'm actually going to see, because you got me thinking, because I remember the Cowboys game where they burned us.
Well, the Cowboys were fully healthy then too. You know, like if you look at the Cowboys now,
again,
they had everybody.
Yep. So
I don't mean to scare you or throw us off the scent here, but
I got a little curious because I just wanted to see what the public trends were. So in this game, 67% of the public money is on 67% of the bets. I'm sorry. Are on the Chargers.
Yar. It's not impressive.
So Broncos plus 2.5, guys.
That's the way this season's been going. At least the way the last 4 weeks have been going. Sundays have been maddening. I'm still going with the Chargers money line. That's probably the safer pick. And I do like the under 47 points. Give me like a 24-17 victory for the Chargers. Nice. Maybe even less. Maybe even 24-14. God, I'm talking to myself into -10 again. What's wrong with me? JJ anytime touchdown. Is that JJ Taylor? JJ. I don't know. Help us out there. All right. Next up, we've got the Minnesota. Who?
Justin Jefferson, possibly?
I don't think Justin Jefferson would be plus 200, but if he is, I'll take it. Next up, Minnesota Vikings +3 on the spread, traveling to San Francisco, +155 on the money line. Total here is at 49 points. I'm feeling it's a high-scoring game here, and I like the Vikings. What do you think?
I like a high scoring game here too, and this is another game I was looking at where everybody was really on the Vikings that were riding that high of last week, and I'm gonna probably take the Niners to win at home. So yeah, this is a game. 62% of the money is on the Vikings, and the bets are on the Vikings. I'm sorry, 70% of the money is on the Vikings. 62% of the bets. So I'm taking the Niners at home. Yeah, I think the Niners. They're also another one of those teams that were kind of left for dead. Earlier in the season, we're like, hey, we don't know what's going on there, and they've stepped it up big time. And so I'm going to go with the Niners at home. I think they'll cover that 3.
The 3 is tough for me. I do think the Vikings cover. I think this is going to be a very close game. The Vikings have won 2 in a row, and prior to that, they had losses of 3 and 4 points. So this is really going to come down to it. And I'm getting plus money at the Vikings at +3 as well. BetOnline AG has plus 105 for the Vikings to cover the +3. I feel like it's a mental game here. I feel like it's been that way for weeks on weeks on weeks. And maybe the public is chasing the trend of the Vikings, but at least that's a trend I feel comfortable with. Like when I look at their body of work past past the past 5 weeks or 5 or 6 weeks, they've looked good. They've looked like a trustworthy team. The Niners, they've gotten right. Like they've improved their roster, gotten people healthy. The play calling's been better. Jimmy Garoppolo's been like really managing things. He hasn't really been mistake ridden. So I think that's where they're getting their lending favor here. So I like the Vikings to cover. I'll stay away from the money line on this one. And I also like the 49 over. I think that we can hit that. I think there's going to be plenty of offense left in this game.
I think so too.
You look at what the Packers did with the Vikings a couple weeks ago. You look what the Vikings have been doing in general, just putting up a lot of points. I think this is a high-scoring game. So if you guys aren't comfortable with our takes on the spread or the money line, I think the over is very well in play here. I like, a 30-27, 30-24 type of game either direction.
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
Still leaning with the Vikings, though.
Yep.
All right. Blake was asking us our props. You had the Mixon. What was your other one? Was it Cam Newton?
Yeah, Cam Newton over 34.5 rushing yards.
Okay, gotcha. And then I shared our others with him in the chat. And then Jake was saying Jerry Jeudy anytime touchdown plus 200. Man, I'd like to bet on it, but I can't. I was saying earlier that I don't like Jeudy to find pay dirt this week, so I'm going to stay away from that one. I think there's a reason it's plus 200. But I'm starting him in fantasy, so I wouldn't hate it. I would love to be wrong about that. All right, next up we have got, in fact, I think I need to switch the bottom line. Yep, that was the first one I was supposed to. Next up, we've got the Rams at the Packers. Rams coming into Green Bay as road favorites, -1 on the spread, -133 on the money line. Over-under is at 46.5 points. I'm leaning towards the over there, but what do you like in the game?
Yep. So this is one where I've been kind of trying not to psych myself out, right? You're looking at an over of 47, which is, I think, pretty fair, right? It's not too high, not too low.
Mm-hmm. Like I got 46.5.
46. Oh, okay. It's probably updating live. It's 46.5. I'll take that over. I like that as well. I don't think that's asking a lot of either offense. Defenses are decent, but not ones that are world beaters that no one can score on, right? So I think I like that over 46.5. It's down to are you still seeing +1, -1 for the spread?
Yes. But I do think this one's going to get to a pick 'em by the time we kick off because it's a 425 game. So I think this goes PK by that time.
Yeah, the +1 doesn't do anything for me anyways. Like as soon as it gets under, there's no value here. Like, I mean,
right. I think they're going to get to the point where no one's just taking the numbers, and like I said, they'll switch it to a pick 'em probably around 1 o'clock.
Yeah, and then the crazy thing is we've been talking about all these trends, right? This is like the game of the week that everybody's split on. It's 50-50. It's, I think, 52% of the bets are on the I just had it up. Are on the here we go. Yeah, 52% of the bets are on the Packers and 48 are on the Rams. This is the most even game of the week. So people are torn, right? They're like, you can't go against Aaron Rodgers at home, but the Rams are a good team. They can go in and win. Stafford, knows how to play in Lambeau. So I'm going to go with the Rams. I think the Rams are a better team. The Rams need this win, right? I think the Rams are coming off back-to-back losses, if I'm not mistaken. They lost to the Titans in primetime and to the Niners. So they're not doing good. So they need to step up. Sean McVay off the bye. Give me them to go into Lambeau and get a win. And I'll take the over. So I'll take I'll just take the money line. It's $8 difference. I'm just taking money line and the over.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to take the Packers money line, and I will take the over as well. Packers are just at home. I'm just going to trust them more. It's a coin flip. You have the Rams traveling. It'll be a little bit colder for them. They may not be so, welcoming to the environment there. It's going to be loud. Aaron Rodgers, he's been showing his feet off. I know Rex Ryan was loving that this week. But I don't know. I feel like he's doing all this for just something else to prove, Who do you think has more catches, Devontae Adams or Cooper Kupp?
Cooper Kupp. Adams and Ramsey is going to be a fun matchup to watch.
Yeah, I think they're going to move Adams around quite a bit. I still see both of those guys getting 7 catches plus. If you want to take advantage of those at your books, et cetera, do as you will. But yeah, I like the Packers to handle business at home. They're still been one of the better teams on the spread. I know obviously the spread isn't really in play here because we're only at 1 point, but when I look at those coin flips and I look at teams' body of work across the entire year, I typically lean towards who's been better, against the spread up against the number. Good teams win, great teams cover. Packers have been one of the best teams in the league against the number. Give me the Packers this week. All right, next up, we've got the Browns and the Ravens. Sunday night football. Browns coming into Baltimore as road dogs, plus 3.5 on the spread, plus 155 on the money line. Over under is at 47 points. I don't know if I love the over here, but what do you like about the game?
So I think the Ravens, finally getting a little bit healthier at home. I think that's really big here for them. I think the Ravens will win. I like the under here. I think it'll still be a high-scoring game. You might get like 24-21, something like that. But I think the Browns will cover 3.5. I think that half point, will help them get that cover.
Tough division game. I could see the Browns covering, but I would still like the Ravens to win outright. I probably wouldn't bet the spread just because I feel like it could be a 2 or 1 point game either direction, and I don't feel like either team has done enough for me, at least recently, to give me the confidence to say, oh, yeah, they're absolutely going to win or they're absolutely going to cover. So I'll take the Ravens money line. I don't know if I trust that 47, though. It's some tough rosters to project here between the production of both teams. You got the Browns with a lot of injuries. I think that they probably lean heavily on Nick Chubb. I think the Ravens probably lean heavily on Lamar Jackson. I like his rushing props this week. I also like his completion prop as well. It was only like 18.5, 19 completions. I like the over there as well for those guys. But give me just the Ravens here. Money line. Going to stay away from the total. I don't trust it. What do you think about that 47?
It's a good number, and I can see it going either way. I remember last year these two teams played on Monday night, where it was a barn burner, right? It was in like the 30s. Mm-hmm. I'm still going to go with the under here. I think it'll be a really entertaining game, but I think you're going to see a lot more field goals than touchdowns, which is going to help us cash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's in play for sure. The Ravens, they put up 10 points up against the Dolphins. You know what I mean? Like, are they bouncing back from that? I mean, I know that was just a couple weeks ago still, but it takes away your confidence. It takes away the ability to just be like, yep, here's my money, give me the Ravens. It's hard. Let's catch up with the chat. We got Justin asking or says he likes the Eagles minus 3.5. I like that as well. Says Pitt money line is a good one. I'm going with the Bengals. I think Emron is as well. He says that their defense will be 100%. Maybe there's something to that. Maybe that's why the total is at 44 points. All right, last one up here. We've got the Seahawks traveling to the Washington football team. Both primetime games in the DMV. Let's go. Pick 'em. This game's a pick 'em. We got no spread right now and no money line value. So who do you like here? And the total's at 46.5 points. I like the football team.
I do too. The Seahawks are not the Seahawks of old that are perennial playoff contenders. They're not really good right now. Part of it's probably Russell Wilson coming back from injury, but I don't know how else to put it. They're just not very good.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And Seahawks defense hasn't been great all year, whether Russ has been there or not. Football team just beat Carolina last week. Much better defense than Seattle. They're playing at home, playing on prime time. I'm going with the football team.
Yep. Yeah, I will as well. And for the trends, it's 46.5. I think we can cash that under. Seattle's offense has been really struggling to put up any points, even though they're playing the defense that they can score on. They're just struggling. I think yesterday was the first time, last week, 8 or 9 quarters that they said that they scored a touchdown. Like they're like they've been struggling. Yeah, it's really weird because Lockett and Metcalf are still there, but they've. Yeah, I mean, I think they'll score a touchdown tomorrow, but I think that's it's going to be around all they get.
Yeah, I like the over 46.5. When I look back to last week with the football team in Carolina, like I said, Carolina has a really good defense, and that what I thought that game for sure would have gone to the under. They hit the over, but I like the Seahawks offense more than I like Carolina's offense. You see where I'm going here with this? So I'm going to go with the over 46.5. I think we're probably looking at a similar total, like 27, 21, 30, 24, 27, 24. I think we're pretty close to those totals in this one. So give me the football team to win. Let's say it was 3 points. I'd take them to cover. You do the same?
Yeah.
Okay. And then Jake is in the chat. He was asking about the Odell narrative, if we think it's all fluff or not. And I asked him to be more specific. He says, McVay says we'll see more Odell. Anytime touchdown at plus 195. I don't hate that. Not great, but not terrible. Agreed. Something cooking for him this week. I think so. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying like 6+ catches, but I could see 4 for 55 and a touchdown. I could.
I do it as well because Jair Alexander can't cover Cooper Kupp and Odell Beckham, so he's going to go on Cooper Kupp. And like we mentioned at the start of the show, right, they've been at Odell's been with the Rams now for 2 weeks. He's got one game under his belt against the Niners on Monday night and the bye week. So I think McVay is very creative, and I think he's had some ample time to cook something up for him and find at least a package for him, right? And find routes that they can accentuate. He doesn't need to know every play. He can still run slants, goes, They're going to find a way, like I mentioned, with Alexander being tied up with Kupp, Odell's going to have a shot.
I agree. I think he can definitely find pay dirt this week. We both expect a fair amount of points in that game, so I think he can find pay dirt at the plus 195. For reference, I like Odell to score a touchdown more than Jerry Jeudy. I mean, and that was only like 5-point separation there. Odell was at plus 195, Jerry at plus 200. So I would take Odell over Jerry Jeudy in that instance.
Yep.
All right, cool. Well, we ran through our previews here. Do you have anything else to close it down before we head out?
Nope. Good. I'm good over here, man. Our Bears, did us a solid and got handled business on Thursday. So today we don't have to worry. We can just enjoy football, make some money.
Yep. Yes, sir. Let's get to it. Let's take it to the Hizzy. I appreciate everybody who stopped by, watch the show. Before you head out, be sure to smash the like button, share the video, and follow us on youtube.com/take it to the Hizzy. Let's go. Take care. Be well. We'll be back tomorrow night with Monday Night Football. We'll see you later.